Hello, Lucy here, and as I like to do most weeks, I am sharing a little bit of information, well, a lot of information about my art business building journey. I'm an artist based in New Zealand, and I am constantly trying new things and exploring how I can continually grow my art business. I sell most of my work online. I do work with some galleries, but 90% is through my own channels, and I love to share what's working for me in this space. So today I want to talk to you about um, what I've done to generate over $5,000 of print sales in the last 10 days. And like I say, this is all online through my own channels, through, using combination of social media, email, and also an ad, although I will say that's the first time I've used an ad and I've had plenty of success in the past without them. So I'm going to share my process. I share my content calendar, what I've actually done to do this, get this result, and a little guide on the key things that I really believe is necessary to get really good results from, well, by sharing your art online and being really clear about what's available. So, what did I sell this week? So, it was one print that I put out this week, a new piece, which is this print here, Portal to New Zealand. This is the largest print I had to offer, so they're not big. There was only 15. And tomorrow is the closing. So I'm going to give you my results based on one day to go. I've only got two left. So, we could be closer to 6,000 by the end of the week. And I'm going to talk to you, like I say, about everything I've done to get to that point. I've tried this process a number of times with a number of different products, and I've been getting a variety of results in the past, 5 years since really pushing this online journey. But every time I get good results, this is the best result I've had so far. And so I'm going to share with you what I think has made that the best result so far. So I'm going to jump over to the little guide I created, and then I'm going to share my content calendar with you. And this you can actually download by clicking the link below. You can download both the guide and the content calendar, which is basically just sharing exactly what I've done. And I really like to be transparent about what I'm doing. I think this will help so many artists understand really what it takes to get these kinds of results for your own business. Okay, let's jump across to this info now. Okay, so I've just created this one pager because I think it really summarizes some of the key things that make a real push to sell something a success. Because of what I used to do when I was starting out, I think a lot of artists do this, is we kind of half-heartedly say, oh, I've got this painting available, I've got this new piece available, and we might talk about it once or twice, and then we kind of go, oh, no one's responded, so I'll move on. So we put all this work into making beautiful things, but we don't put all this work into marketing and selling it, which actually, if you want to have a genuine long standing thriving business, whether it's just to make a bit of money to get a holiday or to just pay some extra bills or to become a full-time artist, we actually really need to put some focus into this process, because I know from experience the difference of not having this versus starting to do this process and doing it really tentatively and feeling like I'm failing at the beginning. But then over time, like the last week I've just had, realizing that I'm getting better and better at it, and that I'm getting better and better results by trying new things and really following through. So here I've tried to sum up succinctly what I think are the key four things that have made the last week such a success for me. So the first thing is your content. So the key to engagement and getting people to look at what you have and look further and be interested in it is awareness. So showing up once on social media will not do that. We really need to be visible regularly, and we need to be showing up with really good messaging and really nice content. So the first thing, quality of your content is key. Good images, good videos that really showcase the beauty of your art, not bad lighting or kind of, in a dark room at night with your yellow light on that makes everything look different. Really try and make sure you're shooting during the day, filming during the day with good light that really showcases what you're doing and makes it look wonderful. The other thing I notice artists do is that they often show their work in the exact same setting over and over again. And I think what we need to realize is that when you're wanting to share your work over and over again, which is what we need to do to get people really noticing and thinking about buying it, is we need to give them different a different feeling, a different angle, a different viewpoint on your art. So what I did in the last this last launch of this print is that the original that the print is taken from, I went to a variety of settings kind of on my back deck, which really looks out to a beautiful New Zealand bush. Um, in my mum's garden, got a photo of my painting in my studio, different places, so that when I put together my content and I showed up over and over again over a number of weeks, yes, the painting was the same and the print and what I'm trying to sell is the same, but the visual was different and so is the messaging, the stories, and I'll get to that in a minute. But really consider that, because I think that's something I realized I was doing all too often, was showing myself just in my studio, and people get a bit bored of it. We really need to think about, if I'm going to try and show something 7 or 10 times, which I know can make a lot of artists feel very uncomfortable, that becomes a lot easier if you've actually gone out and shot it in a number of different beautiful locations, because actually your art looks different in a lot of different in a lot of different places, and it can really actually enhance it in different spaces. And also remember to take lots of process videos. So when you are making your pieces, and I know this can be difficult, really just try and take a moment. It doesn't have to be the whole time you're making it. You don't have to do a time lapse of everything you do, but just take a moment to just, do little videos of you doing little details or brush strokes or mixing paint, whatever it might be, because this really helps when it comes to marketing and selling your art at the end of this process. Don't be scared to go live and talk directly to the camera with your product. So this is something I know a lot of people are scared of, and I understand that. However, I think some of the most successful content I have mixed in with process videos and me showing the work and doing the reveals is me just talking really candidly like this, as if I'm talking to my friends that I've known forever. And that is a tip, by the way. I used to hate doing this, but I used to just always think of my best friend and no one else. And she was just like listening to me talk. And it became easier and easier to feel just natural in front of the camera. We don't worry about what people think and all the potential haters out there. But we just put ourselves out there and just talk candidly about what we've done and why it's lovely, and the details about that. Your storytelling within your content is vital. So a lot of artists create nice content, no real story behind it that grabs people. And so there's a lot of elements around the story of a piece and you and your brand that we can weave into every launch. So things about you as a person, things about your art, things about your brand. So when I say your brand, like, why do you create art? What's your passion? Like for me, I create, one of the reels I did for this launch was, the hook was, I create New Zealand abstracts using I create New Zealand landscapes using triangles. So that's quite an interesting hook, because people are like, wow, how do you do that? And then they wait to see what you've done. But it talks to my brand, which is I use a lot of geometric forms, a lot of shape in combination with realism. So that talks to my brand and who I am and what I create. And your brand might be evolving, but we want to just think about, what am I offering there and then in that particular pitch or that particular launch of what you're creating. So that's the first thing. Your content is key. And your content doesn't need to be perfect, but we need to be creating content and doing our best to be covering most of those things. The second thing is, we need to make it easy and irresistible to buy. By the time we say they are available now, and I'll talk to you about how I've kind of on my calendar have a lead up to this point, because we really need to have a lead up to that point. Otherwise, people don't even know what's available now and why they should want it. But when it is available to buy, we need to make it really easy for them to buy. So you might not have a full blown website yet, but there are ways that we can create payment links even without a website. So we want to have something that is available with the ability for people to pay by a credit card online, because going through this process of email me to buy, email DM me for details, it's just a real block. And it sometimes will, I believe, it will absolutely take out some buyers for you who are ready just to go if they can put their credit card details in. Because if people have a moment of hesitation or something feels a bit too hard, that can be the out they give themselves, just, oh, it's too hard. Having a really nice landing page that showcases your offer with amazing images is really important, and include mock-ups so people can imagine it in their home. And I'm going to show you my landing page for this print in just a moment. The third thing is, we want to create urgency. This is something, again, I've learnt is the one of the most important things to selling your art. We need to actually have a reason for people to buy now. If we just say, and until we get massive and we have a huge audience who are like just chomping at the bit to buy every single painting you have immediately, and I'm not at that point, but until you're at that point, we have to have a real push to buy. So is it going to be there's a limited number? So, for example, I had a number of urgency factors in this, which I think made all the difference. So, I only had 15 available. There were two sizes to choose from, but there were only 15 in total. They were only available for 10 days. This is the first time I've tried this, and I'll share more about that. And I built shipping into the price. So unless they were overseas. So locally there was shipping built into the price. So that took away that thought from people's minds. But other things, if you're putting just an original series together, it's a one of a kind factor. So if you can create some really good awareness and excitement, people know there's only one of each of those things. They're going to be feeling the urgency to buy if there's been a lot of really good content coming their way that's making them excited about it. Or you could even offer a free gift with purchase. If you're kind of just starting out, you might do something neat where you, I don't know, offer a small print with a painting, a small print of the painting to gift to a friend with that painting. It could be a number of different things. We can be creative with this, and the key is to really just try different angles. And the final thing is about omnipresence, and you'll see what I mean by this in the calendar I'm about to show you. So this is about being visible in front of the people who are thinking about buying from you in a number of different places. So you'll be appearing in different ways, and it won't feel forced like you're just saying the same thing. Hey, buy this print, buy this print, buy this print. You'll be doing it in different ways, and I'll show you what I mean. But you are popping up in different places, and so you're constantly in their brain, and they're constantly going, if they're thinking about it, they're thinking about it even more every time they see you. So I think on that note, it's really important to remember psychology of people buying things. And I'm a bit like this. If I'm just warming up to something, I might need to see it 5, 6, 7 times before I buy something. In this case, or in the general psychology of selling, they reckon on average people need to see something 7 times to buy it. So when you think of it like that, you're not giving yourself any chance of really making good sales if you're just holding back and kind of throwing out a few things over a few weeks and really hoping it lands. You don't have enough information to tell yourself that you've not been a success. Okay, so if you haven't done this and you haven't been showing up over and over again over a number of weeks to sell a particular new collection or a new print, I would say you just haven't got enough information to say people don't want it. The last thing is, I just, on this note, if you, and this is how I frame my content creation, even when it feels a little bit uncomfortable, which it can still feel uncomfortable, but how would you feel about creating content if you reframed it in your brain? And what I mean by that is if every piece of content you put out there is a potential sale, a potential new customer who gets to own and love your art and will pay you for it, how do you feel differently about creating that content? For me, I feel very motivated because I'm like, well, if I don't create this piece of content, I might not get another sale. And a perfect example of that is last night I put together a story saying they're going this weekend. You will not be able to buy the prints again. There's only a couple left. And within 10 minutes, I had another sale. I know it came from that story because I saw the person on the story who viewed it then came through on the sales. So even a story reminder can be enough to just convert that person who's just on the edge. Or maybe put it in their cart going, I don't know what size I want or what frame I want. And then they've forgotten to just make the decision. So it can be a variety of factors of why people haven't checked out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the sales page and then I'm going to hop across to the content calendar and you can start to see exactly what I've done to get these results. Okay, so here we are on my website. And so what I did for this, you'll see here I have a nice big banner here saying you're in your last 24 hours to buy these prints, and that takes them directly to this new geometric landscapes page. And I created a brand new, and I always like to do this, create a brand new page on my website for new works. And I also have it right here. So people on my main page can see it immediately if they've just missed this for some reason. So again, Excuse me, drop my microphone. Again, you're giving people lots of ways to not miss this. So you'll see here, I've created a really nice landing page with one of I should mention that this included a new painting. This was a nearly $4,000 painting. So I knew that this might not be the thing that sells this week because some of these bigger paintings do take longer to find their home. But then I also have the print. So here they've got two options. They can either shop now for the print or shop now for the original painting. And you can see here I just also give a little about me at the bottom of this page because I think this is really good for people who might be coming across me for the first time to easily learn a bit more about me, which is a very big connecting factor. So if we go to the print here and go to the shop now page, you'll see here that I've created a number of different photos, including me with the original, that gives people a nice feel of how it could be in their bedroom, as an example. A little print sitting up across one of their dresser drawers and close-up details here. So 5 photos, probably could have even gone further with 7. I think 5 to 7 minimum. And then some really good information about the story, who will like this, made for the people who feel a deep connection to this special Auckland landscape. This is where we're talking to not only what we're making, but why it matters for other people. How I've painted it on wood panel with my signature geometric style. That really is secondary to the story. Your story is always the most important thing. The original is sold, 15 prints are available until the 7th of June unless sold out prior. And then we've got some really clear details on what they're getting, why it's special, and some specifics about the framing. Now, I hadn't actually offered framing for a long time, but my printer has recently started doing in-house framing. So I thought, well, I'll offer it again because I don't have to do it myself. It all gets done in-house. And I'll talk about that a bit later, but every single print, except for the ones going overseas, because I didn't offer it for overseas purchases, they've asked for framing. So that's also really interesting information. After going without framing for a while, I'm now offering it ready to hang. People don't want to deal with framing because they buy a print often, they stay in the drawer at home. So little side note there. Right, so this was the landing page. Like I talked to you before, this is really important just to connect with them and get them really thinking about what they're doing. Another thing I added as a side note, just this launch, and I do really wonder if it made a big difference, is you'll see here that there's some little information about people who have recently purchased. So it takes kind of the last 3 purchases, and after 24 hours, it will take away when they last purchased. But this, I think, is a great tool to show people are buying from you. You're not just a random person. People are buying from you, and that actually gives people some comfort around, yes, this person is legit. People are buying their prints, and actually, I better get in quick because I just saw Richard purchase not so long ago, as an example. That's a free add-on to my website, by the way. If you have a website already, look at ProveSource. Very easy to install, and I think it's actually been a really great little marketing add-on to this process. Anyway, that's a side note. I'm getting a bit distracted, but I want to take you now to my strategy. So this is the calendar, and like I say, I'm sharing everything with you because I think that's important. Right. So I'm going to make this available to you, by the way. So if you don't capture everything in this conversation as we go, you can download it and really dig into kind of what I've done here. So it goes across May and across June as well. So you'll see here we're at June now. But my marketing started on the 16th of May for a launch. I've got a little rocket there on the 28th of May. So what I'm trying to say here is I started talking about this, 12 days before. So I normally say 2 weeks. I was a bit late, but I think it still worked great. So little dots refer to the type of content I created. So a combination of email to my email list, Facebook community posts. I'm a huge fan of posting my local community posts and my local community because I get so much local interest in what I'm doing and they're very supportive. Social media posts, stories, and ads. Now I ran an ad for this particular campaign, this launch, which went quite well, and it's the first time I've done this, and it's something I will talk more about in the future because I think it's somebody who has some decent engagement and a good email list forming. I think this worked very well as a final reminder for a lot of people who had been hitting my website. We won't worry about that right now. And if you feel overwhelmed with ads, please note that I've been doing this launch process for a number of years now, making lots of sales, but I haven't been using ads. So this is not a requirement. Anyway, some key things. I'm not going to go through every single piece of content and show you every single piece of content, but I want to just point out some really key things here. And I think what you'll see here, we talked about omnipresence before, being visible in a number of places in that day, so that somebody might get an email and then they see you in your community post and then they see a post on your social media. It will all look different to them, but it'll be talking about the same thing and it will feel like a reminder without being pushy. So this is why omnipresence, the concept of this is so important. The other thing I want to say is some of you might be looking at this going, whoa, this is a lot. Some of this content I would make a very quick reel or carousel that might take me 15 or 20 minutes using the content I'd already filmed, really key here. And then I share it to my stories. That's how simple some of that can look. So that can often be 20 to 25 minutes easily in just a day. So sometimes 5 minutes in a day. So it doesn't need to be super complicated to create the content we're talking about here. So on the right-hand side here, I've just got some key stuff I wanted to emphasize. So the content focus is really key. Before your launch date, which was the 28th of May, is the day these prints and the original painting was available, the focus was about creating content that gave awareness, created excitement. Sorry, I've got a bit of an overlap of words there. I'll clean that up before you download it. But gave them information about what they can buy and created some awareness and excitement. So it's starting to get on their mind. And also a CTA being the call to action, all of my content was join my email list because for 24 hours, the people on that list will get first access. You also get 10% off your first purchase if you go on my email list. 2 people have taken that 10%, not everybody, interestingly. So that is your focus. Everything you're trying to talk about is this is what's coming. This is a bit of a story about what I've made, the painting. I'm going to create some prints. It's coming soon. If you want to get first notification on this and not miss it, make sure you're on my email list. So that was the real drive behind all of the messaging leading up to the 28th. So you can see just running through a few of them on the 16th, I created a carousel that was the intro of this particular painting that became the print. And I actually asked, should I do a print? It started to create engagement and awareness. I kind of decided because I'd already had some good feedback, but it was interesting for me to get some more and more really good feedback. On the 19th, a reel. So confirmation that I'm making the print. Okay, guys, we're making the print. It's coming soon. It's limited in nature. There's only 15. Join my newsletter. On the 21st, you'll see I created a newsletter. Really key to my email subscribers because they are my repeat customers. Having a newsletter, if you haven't created one yet, an email list, is your single most important asset to growing a sustainable business because you will find that you have customers there who begin to love you and they will buy from you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And I have a number of people who have bought from me over and over again because of that email list. Green dot is a community post, so introducing this particular piece. Blue dot is an introduction to the painting, plus please join my newsletter for first access. So you can see there's a pattern here. I'm creating awareness, putting out content in different places with a different angle on the type of content I'm making. I'm not just standing there with a print going, I have a print available, it's coming soon, sign up to my newsletter. No, I'm creating different, and check out my Instagram if you want to see kind of the details of what I've made here. But you'll see that I've got different reels of me moving with the painting or working on the painting, and the message is also different. So, for example, on the 22nd, I created a reel where the hook was why I'm changing the way I release prints. So this was a completely different angle, still talking about the print that was coming out, but I started to talk about why I'm going to make them limited in nature for a limited time for the rest of the year. So this is my new strategy and I'm sharing it with people. I want people to feel like it's uber special. It's so special. And once they're gone, they're gone. Even if they don't sell out, you won't be able to buy them again. So it creates this real sense of, gosh, this really is unique and special. I better get it now. On the 23rd, I created a reel, like I mentioned this one before, another angle that talked to my brand, my style. I paint landscapes using triangles. This was the hook. It creates intrigue. I reveal the painting that's going to be made on sale, and in the caption, I talk about the release and how they need to join my newsletter. So the message and what we're wanting them to do is very much the same, but the way that we're sharing the messaging is different each time. It's drawing on aspects of the story of us as a person, the kind of art we create, and our process, and using different elements of that to make interesting content. As we move through, you'll see, like I say, I'm not going to go through every single day because I don't want this to feel overwhelming. But you can look at this yourself later and really just have a think about this of and like I say, you can actually marry the content I've made on Instagram with this calendar and see exactly what I've done here. But coming into launch day, which is the day my subscribers got early access of 24 hours, that was the messaging. Here is what I'm offering. This is why it's special. Get in now. Join my email list with first access. After this date, the content changes slightly because what you're doing now is saying, hey, they're now available for a limited time. Again, we're sharing what we're doing and sharing the beauty and why they're special again, but it's reminding them that it's available and actually giving them updates as they sell. So not necessarily every day. I don't recommend doing that, but every few days, 5 prints have sold. There's 5 left, 2 left. So by the time we get to today or tomorrow, people are thinking about it. So when you do your final reminders, they're ready to go. Oh, I have to get in, otherwise they're gone. So on the 29th, you'll see a purple dot appears, and that's when I set up a meta ad. So I set up a $25 a day campaign with 5 test ads. And if you are interested to continue, to follow me, I'm going to be sharing a lot more about ads because this one really worked very well for me. It's generated some sales, interestingly, from all people from my email list. So it almost acted as that final reminder. It popped up and they went, oh gosh, I never checked out. I've just got to do that now. So that was a really interesting test for me. And I let that run. You'll see the purple dot continues through to today, tomorrow when it will run, and I'll turn it off at the end of the campaign. So I always review your ads 72 hours later. If you haven't had any purchases, it's probably best to turn it off and have a rethink about the content you've put up there because it's probably not hitting. But I've let it run because it's done well for me. So you'll see here I've continued to post in different ways. I've also just linked in a few other things. So, for example, on the Tuesday of this week, I actually posted about another artwork. I didn't want to, in this launch week of, I really hit it hard leading up to when they're available. I really make that first 10 days to 2 weeks before they're available for sale all about that. So that's on their mind. And the week it's available, I kind of weave in a few other things so that I'm mainly talking about what I'm selling. But there's some other stuff woven in there so it doesn't feel too too salesy, but you're still front of mind. So I put a carousel and a reel up that wasn't specifically talking about this particular launch and what was available, but it still kept me front of mind. And I've still continued to remind people, like you'll see here, story on Wednesday, 5 prints left. On Thursday, I put another community post out reminding them they were available. And yeah, I did a 24 hours to go reminder on a story, which, like I say, created a sale immediately from someone who needed the reminder. So final things that will go out on the day, the evening before they literally disappear, is an email to those who clicked my email but never actually purchased, and there were a lot of those, and a lot of them put it in their cart, so I know there was interest. And then a final social media post to give people the last chance. There's only 2 left. So whether or not I sell those, I'm really happy with the result. I had a goal of 4K and I've exceeded that. And I'm going to talk a bit about the results before we finish up. But tomorrow, just as a final thing here, I'm going to update the sales page to say sold out because they won't be available anymore, whether they're sold out or not. And there'll be a clear block there saying, if you missed out on this and you don't want to miss out next time, my next release is happening in July and you can join my email list here. So it creates urgency for the next round. And what I'm hoping from this is it just continually becomes like momentum, a ball rolling down a hill where people are interested, either buy or just miss out and realize I've really got to be quicker next time or onto it. More people are added to your email list, more people are interested in just making the decision. So this is where that urgency plays in. So just going back to some of the results that I want to show you, I just want to summarize the urgency factors that I put into this campaign. So limited time, 10 days they're going to be available for. Whether I'd sold 3 or all of them, I had to commit to that. So there was a risk involved in this, but I decided that that was almost the motivation I needed to really show up with my content, because I was like, I've got to make the most of this. Limited numbers. There was only 15, and I included free shipping for people who were in New Zealand, and I just packaged that into the price. So not a really big thing for me, but it takes that off people's mind, and they feel like they're getting something else for free. So the sales results in the notes down the bottom. So as at Saturday the 6th of June, with 24 hours left, 15 prints have sold. Now, not all of the ones from this new edition, so I'll clarify that in a minute. Mostly framed, interesting intel for me for moving forward with how I sell my art, my prints. 7 new customers, 8 repeat customers. 4 converted from my Facebook ads, and they were all email subscribers. So what that tells me is this was an amazing result so far as making sure the people who had put it in their cart got reminded with a few different ads, and it crossed them over that line. So that was really interesting intel for me. And why is that worth it rather than sending out lots of emails? You say, well, I don't want to exhaust my email list. I don't want to be sending out emails every single day and just annoying them. A lot of people will look at what I've done already and say, gosh, that's 4 or 5 emails in 4 weeks. That's a lot. But we need to be front of mind, and those emails are really important, especially some people miss 1 or 2 of them. The new customers versus repeat customers is a very important metric too, because new customers are very exciting. They're new to your work, which for me shows that bringing in new people from different communities and perhaps a different angle with some art that was a little bit different to what I've done. I've just started doing landscapes, is bringing in a slightly different customer. So having new customers is very exciting because often that's the hardest sale you'll make. Once they've bought from you once, they'll often buy from you again if they have a wonderful experience. So for me, that's really exciting because that's 7 new customers who will probably buy from me again. 2 of them emailed me saying, one of them said they really want an original and they'll be saving for that soon. And the other said, I love a lot of your art. I will be purchasing a number of others. So you can see what I mean here by the excitement of what a new customer can bring. But let's not look past the repeat customers. A lot of the people who bought from me have bought 3 or 4 times already. So they are the thing, the people, the vital part of my life. That email list is what creates the sustainability of being able to sell to the same person. Too many artists think I just need to sell to lots of people once, whereas really we need to be thinking about how we bring in new customers and make them lifetime customers. So 13 prints from this release sold and 2 other prints sold. So what that told me is that just bringing in all this visibility brought other people to my site and they bought other things. So that was really great result, and that's part of my results that I've shown here financially, because that is what this launch, push for visibility, push for sales, created. It's not going to be just the thing that you're focusing on, but it's going to bring in people looking at your whole website, and it's going to make them think about buying as well other things from your offers collection. So total revenue from the prints that I've sold, the 15 prints, is about $5,100. Not all profit because I've got the cost for my printer and framing costs and shipping and other things like that, but it's about 3K profit. So it's a great week for me. And you might say, well, this is a lot of effort. You've got to think about this as a long game. So if you can make this cycle work for yourself every 6 to 8 weeks, and it can involve higher ticket items like paintings and not just prints, you could essentially be doing this kind of week every 6 to 8 weeks, and it could be this and more. So when you start to think about it like that, and then you have commissions and other things and other events, I've got an event coming up in August. I had a lady also reach out. I should really mention this. Specifically from this particular art piece, I've just quoted her a $3,000 commission because she wants one like this, an original. this campaign brought that in. So when you start to stack all that visibility and opportunity that comes, and the potential buyers who missed out this week realizing they missed out and they're like, I've got to buy the next one. Long term, this process starts to become gold. And the more you do this process, for me, this is now, it feels a lot easier than it did the first 3 times I did it because I'm so used to it now. I know what to write. I'm getting better at my content and storytelling. I know how to not make myself feel too same with every post I create. So although it might feel like a lot to start, it gets easier and easier every time you do it. And I cannot tell you how valuable this process has been to my business for the last for like 5 years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of art I've been able to sell by using this process. So to summarize, it's about being seen over and over again in different places and just really considering how your content is being shared with your story. Your story is your superpower, so always remember that. Now, if you want to learn more about the the details of all of this content, how to write a great newsletter, how to figure out what your story is, how do I create these talking points, how do I create good content, what kind of content is really impactful, and how do I write a good caption in that content? How do I create this strategy with templates? And that's what I've actually created within my membership that I'm launching this week. I'm so excited about this. I had this membership going a couple of years ago in a completely different way format. It's launching on the 11th of June again, and it's totally different. It's called the Art Business Growth Circle. And we will be focusing on these key pillars that will help you start to get this kind of launch together, creating great content, really learning how to convey your story well, learning how to sell without feeling sleazy, and getting really, really awesome results in an amazing community of artists who are doing exactly what you're doing, trying to create that dream business. Along with group coaching, you can submit your content for review to me every week for me to have a look over it and give you feedback. So there's just an amazing tool for you to be able to actually get templates that you don't have to think too hard about creating. You can make them your own, knowing what the kind of things you should be saying in situations like these launches, and knowing what you're doing as you go along is the right direction, checking in, getting feedback from the group, getting feedback from me, submitting questions to keep you on track. And I know from experience, the last time I had this kind of membership going, the ability just to not get stuck and keep moving is what will get you to your goal faster. So if you'd like to join that group, the link is below in the comments. You can either go on the wait list if you are watching this before the 11th of June. Otherwise, you'll be able to jump straight in and have a free trial to see what this is like. So anyway, I hope you found this super useful and maybe exciting and inspiring to know what is possible. I don't have an art degree. I've had no gallery turn around and say, you're my feature artist and we've chosen you. I've worked with a couple of galleries over the years, but like I say, I've sold mainly myself. And it's purely because I believe in what I'm doing. And I've been spending a lot of time learning what works and trying things. And that's why I love being able to share it with you, because I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is at the beginning. I found it so hard. And it's getting easier and easier for me to make really great sales. And I want to be able to share that with artists like you. So, like I say, I would love to have you part of the Art Business Growth Circle. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel. I'll be sharing more in the coming weeks, months, probably years. All right. Thanks so much. See you soon.